Welcome back, family, to another episode of the Double Down Podcast. I'm your host, DeAndre Woodson. And I know if you've been on the internet and if you don't live underneath a rock, you have heard this phrase, peptides. Maybe you've heard biohacking. I know somewhere on your algorithm, this is coming up. And maybe you don't know what it is, or maybe you're incredibly interested in it and you're just too scared because you don't have the information. This is the episode for you. I've brought back Jessica Lynn White for her second time here, so internally grateful for that. And we're going to answer every single question you have about peptides. So buckle up, get your notebooks ready because she's incredibly smart, and let's double down with Jessica Lynn White. How are you doing?
Hi, DeAndre.
I'm so happy to have you
I
back.
am too. I'm so glad to be back.
So from the last one, I know how excited you were about new peptides becoming available on the market, right? And getting approved for the FDA. I think you were saying like 6 out of 7 are coming.
Yes, I called it.
You did call it.
I said there's 7 peptides up for review, July 23rd and 24th. 6 of the 7 went through the PCAC committee, which is the FDA committee that analyzes all of the data. There were a lot of people in that proceeding. I don't know if you watched any of those online.
I did not.
But everyone from double board certified cardiologists to longevity medicine clinics to pharmacy interest groups spoke in 5-minute intervals on every one of those peptides, and 6 out of the 7 went through, except for DSIP.
What is that one? Do you know?
It's deep sleep something. That was the only one. It's Meldtide was the only one that did not come through. But the other 6, TB500, BPC-157, KPV, those all went through. And those are the popular ones.
Right. The BP-157 is like the recovery, right? Like tendons,
BPC,
tissue.
Yes. Recovery and regeneration. Very popular in the bodybuilding and fitness community.
That's the one that we were talking about. Like, if this gets approved, do we think that sports teams,
Yes,
right?
and I have an answer for you.
Please, I'm so interested.
WADA,
Okay.
the World Anti-Doping Association, is who dictates the approved medications that professional athletes can take. So unfortunately, those are not approved, including things like testosterone. GLPs are, depending on their oversight with their provider, but most collegiate programs follow WADA, and WADA does not currently permit those peptides. But stay tuned.
Yes.
Right, because GLPs are peptides, and they are approved and monitored. So certainly the top could pop off when it comes to that.
What's up, risk takers? Welcome back to the Double Down Podcast. I'm your host, DeAndre Woodson. And if you're ready to stop playing small and start building the empire you are meant for, you're in exactly the right place. Before we dive in today's game-changing episode, do me a quick favor. If you're listening on audio right now, smash that follow button and leave me a 5-star rating. It literally takes you 3 seconds. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe, ring that notification bell so you never miss the strategies that could change your entire life. Okay, I really want to try and test that then, because I don't know if you know, but Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL and his PCL last season.
Yep.
And he's back in training camp, jumping around, throwing the ball, running, like literally scrambling around.
Yeah.
I saw the video and I was like, there it is. He's the first one to be on peptides. Obviously, they're not going to say it, right? It's just thought. But I have a hunch he was on peptides.
Well, that's a great point that you're bringing up, because he's going to be tested.
Okay.
And even if he's not tested, there's still a prescription paper trail. Right? A physician has to write a prescription for that. Certainly, I would never think that Patrick Mahomes would take a powder peptide from, a gray market website. There are providers that do oversight for peptides, and typically there's a prescription paper trail. So I would venture to say, even though it's very sensational and sizzling to speculate that, it's probably not happening, but he would be an amazing candidate for that. And, that's a huge topic.
Right.
That's why I'm saying, stay tuned. I called peptides. Everybody's like, oh, I don't know. They're coming. They're coming.
You know what's funny is preparing for this episode, I went down this rabbit hole that I feel like I did the same thing with AI. And there's so much that you can learn about AI, and you can use this software and this software to do this and this to make your life easier. But I felt like I was on the same rabbit hole with peptides. And I say all that to say, like, if you don't know, you truly don't know. And just in case anyone goes to like look this up, it looks like an algebraic like formula.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of letters and it's a bunch of numbers, and I had no idea what I didn't know.
Right.
But I will say that since our last episode, I have seen medical professionals, I've seen plastic surgeons, I've seen offices change their entire branding and their marketing to become wellness centers. And I called one for this episode specifically, yes, just to be like, what does this look like? And why is this now something that you add? I'm all for it. I love, this is obviously a finance and business platform, right? Yeah. So adding verticals to the company, genius idea. But the concept that I got from the woman at the desk was, think of it like you never actually get to see your plastic surgeon. You just see a nurse practitioner. You sit down, you tell them kind of what your symptoms are. And let's say you get a tummy tuck. Instead of going somewhere else to get something, now you're getting what you need for rejuvenation to hide your tummy tuck scar. And this is just an example from the nurse practitioner. And now that plastic surgeon obviously is making a killing on the back end. I love that from the frontal face of it, right? But what it made me believe or think was, is the everyday average person going to believe that their plastic surgeon is giving them the best compounds because they just paid tens of thousands of dollars to have a surgery done, right? And they're not going to question them. But let's say someone that you work with that's starting a telemed company, and they get 900 questions bombarded because they think that you're shady or who you work with. Do you think that's, I guess let me just stop there. How do you feel about that? And do you think that that's even fair or relevant, or am I going too deep into this? Because I feel like they have an upper hand. Why wouldn't they just buy cheap stuff from China and overprice it? Because no one's going to question them.
That's a very packed
It was.
question.
I'm sorry.
So what? No, I'm here for it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So what I hear you saying is that there are prominent providers in the health, wellness, maybe even plastic surgery, aesthetic space that are utilizing peptides to enhance surgical recovery or metabolic recovery or general recovery for their patients. And that taps right into what I believe is, in this industry, there's a gray area, which is those street meat powder peptides like we talked about before. You can go to Facebook Marketplace and get these. You can go to a various number of sites online. But then some providers are not necessarily writing scripts, because you don't need a script, but they are allowing their patients and guiding their patients to use these peptides. And that's kind of the light gray area.
Okay.
But still nobody really knows. Last year in 2025, a physician in Utah was indicted for being a provider and prescribing peptides to his patient. And this was one of the first incidents of a provider being indicted for using Chinese peptides and selling them to his patients. So it's very prolific in the online space with the powder peptides and different websites that are selling these. The powder meaning they're lyophilized, meaning they're dehydrated, and then typically you have to add what's called bacteriostatic water or back water. That used to be really easy to get on Amazon or a variety of different sites, but you cannot get back water anymore on Amazon. Thank you to the government, right? And the government is also seizing API, which is the pharmaceutical ingredient for these peptides at every port across the United States. They're literally choking out illegal peptides, which is great for the telehealth industry for bringing these peptides back into the hands with the PCAC meeting, with the FDA, and all of these proceedings that are going on with MAHA. putting these peptides back in the hands of providers for regulation, for writing prescriptions based on that patient's specific needs. So to answer your question, there are thousands of providers nationwide. When I watched those PCAC proceedings, there was physician after physician citing their own personal instances and their own data from their own patients and their recovery based on not having peptides and having these procedures, and based on having peptides, whether it's cardiology, whether it's aesthetics, plastic surgery, orthopedics, and how their patients recovered faster, better outcomes, less pain, increased tissue extensibility, you name it, having those great results. And that, of course, is what resulted in an 8-6 outcome for the PCAC voting these peptides to go through, which is the biggest push through in history for the PCAC and the FDA. Does that answer your question?
Are you ready to turn your dreams into a reality? At Deviant Consultations, we're here to guide you, complete white glove service every step of the way. Whether you're starting your credit repair journey or you're looking to get business funding, we've got your back. Go ahead and screenshot or click the QR code below and schedule your discovery call with the team. Let's make your dreams come true together. It did. It absolutely did. And I guess it was just maybe the way I was thinking is, if they feel like they can get away with something, why wouldn't they?
Who's they?
The plastic surgeons, because what I saw was, it was just a shift. It's a plastic surgeon office. And now if you look on their websites, and there's like 3 or 4 that I found here just locally in Vegas, it's now plastic surgery and wellness. And I'm assuming the wellness came from peptides. So when I called and I asked the front desk receptionist, and maybe she doesn't know everything, and I should have went in and did a little bit more research, I was just like, because they've already entrusted essentially their entire life to go through with this surgery, why would they ever question if the medical practitioner, nurse practitioner, whoever is prescribing that, right, says, take this. You're not even going to think twice, because you've already entrusted your entire life to your surgeon.
Right.
But when someone comes and stumbles upon our video, right, I've seen it in the comments. Everyone wants to comment. Everyone wants to say it's a scam. Everybody wants to say, who is she? How does she know? But what about that person, right? And they're questioning, where are you getting them from and purchasing them from, and your connections. And I just thought, it's kind of, I guess that this all is a gray area, but I was like, how unfair is that, just because they're your surgeon, you believe in them, you entrust in them, which, I mean, I get it. The responsibility is, you think they would have your best interest at heart. But
well,
go ahead.
Let's not get it twisted. I hear what you're saying, and you said, how do you know that they're not maybe having your best interest? So I'm a physical therapist of 27 years and very clinically based. And these providers, I went to the Peptide World Congress in Phoenix a couple of months ago, and it was a group of almost 3,000, mostly providers. That was the most clinically based. It was the SSRP Institute with Dr. Seeds. And there were so many 30-minute discussions. It was case study after case study. I felt like I was back in PT school. We were talking about the Krebs cycle. We were talking about mitochondria and cellular energy and cellular repair. So what I heard you saying is, these patients are trusting these providers with these peptides, which has the connotation that there's something wrong with the peptides. But I want to say something very clearly here. I think the peptides are amazing. They've just been on the naughty list since 2023, and what they're doing is getting back into the hands of those providers in a compliance-built system where those providers can actually prescribe them. So what's available now is compounds that are coming from overseas, and those compounds are typically not thoroughly tested for sterility. What's in there, you know, sometimes there's 30 times more arsenic than it should be in there. Their COAs, or their certificate of authenticity, is very poor. And those are the things that I think are circulating in those comments and people kind of parlaying on that gray area. But if we look at peptides as a treatment methodology and what they actually do, and the providers that are prescribing them, I would definitely lean towards those providers are not prescribing them because they want to make money. It's because they freaking work.
Got it.
And that's the whole catapult that's driving this MAHA initiative, that's driving these peptides to become approved and back in the hands of providers that could write prescriptions. They come from a 503A compounding pharmacy. What in the world is that?
What is that?
503A is I'm writing a prescription for you, DeAndre, specifically for you. BPC-157, this is the milligrams, this is the concentration, this is the dosage, this is how many units I want you to take every week based on this diagnosis.
Got it.
503B pharmacies make bulk prescriptions. They make bulk vials. Those are pretty much dust now because they're not patient specific. So when you think about peptides and this light gray area, the plastic surgeon, per your example, is probably getting those peptides from a 503A pharmacy. They're probably compounded specifically for you. Your wife had a tummy tuck. I'm getting this compound for her to help her with healing.
Perfect. No, that definitely answered my question.
Standing up for the provider.
You did it. No, 100%. And I appreciate you for that. So just for anyone who maybe comes to this episode for the very first time, can you explain what is actually a peptide?
A peptide is a protein chain that has some type of physiological effect on your body. And many of these peptides are already found in our bodies. GLPs are very socially acceptable. And the first GLP was semaglutide, which is brand name Wegovy and Ozempic. And that was initially formulated as an anti-diabetes medication to control A1C, and it had a profound side effect of weight loss.
Yeah.
And people were like, wow. So the generation 2 medication, semaglutide is FDA approved for diabetes. Tirzepatide, which is brand name Mounjaro or Zepbound, hits 2 hormones, and it is FDA approved for weight loss. The generation 3 peptide, which is retatrutide, hits 3 hormones, and everybody's, completely salivating to get retatrutide. It has an additional glucagon receptor, and the retatrutide advantage, not to go into too much detail, is there's a little bit less muscle wasting. It doesn't completely sever your appetite like tirzepatide does. So the goal there is to allow appetite modification or decrease or suppression, but still allowing you to not necessarily lose all of the muscle mass. And, these medications keep evolving. So that's the weight loss peptide. Yeah. The peptides that we're talking about with the FDA and the PCAC, BPC-157, TB500, KPV, MOTS-c, those peptides are basically protein chains, and they are designed to affect your cell in a very specific way. So all of our cells in our body have mitochondria. We're going here, DeAndre. We're going here.
Let's do it.
Mitochondria, and mitochondria are the energy makers of your cell. It produces ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and ADP, adenosine diphosphate, and that provides the energy in your cells. When you have cellular damage, or when those cells are deregulated for whatever reason, or if you have toxins in your system, whatever the case may be, that leads to disease or it leads to decreased healing, these peptides can be implemented into your system to restore, very simply put, your cellular function. Okay. So it would be like taking a computer, for example, and debugging it. Gotcha. Or taking AI and debugging something. Yeah. And then it runs more smoothly, more efficiently. It does what it's supposed to do.
As you were speaking, I like your example a little bit better, but in my head, I was envisioning Wolverine from the X-Men healing himself. So the peptide, I'm sorry.
It's funny that you say that because there's actually a Wolverine stack.
Perfect.
Peptides.
There we go. That's how I saw it. Was just like, okay, so your body, as you get older, is no longer doing what it's supposed to do. Peptides are trying to like that energy inside of you to get them to regulate themselves and do what they're supposed to do.
Very simply put, yes.
So there is, and you said this word, and I think you have to say it. It was a side effect of taking Wegovy or the GLP-1s of weight loss. But now to someone, that's not a side effect. That's the reason that they want to take it, right?
Yes.
So if someone was to ask you to just like simply put like, hey, don't give me medical terminology. What are side effects of taking peptides? It would really be kind of in the eye of the beholder, right? Because if you take it and you're specifically trying to take it for meal suppression, like what you were saying with Retta, then it's not a side effect. It's the holy grail.
Right.
Right? So,
yes. Well, to be clear, semaglutide, the side effect was weight loss based on decreased appetite, decreased gastric or tummy emptying. For tirzepatide, it is approved for weight loss. That's the reason we made the drug. That's what it's supposed to be for. And retatrutide is just the next level of that.
So is there, in your own opinion, is there any actual side effect to taking a peptide?
Yes, there are side effects. For GLPs specifically, there are side effects. And there are side effects for peptides, the other group of peptides that we're talking about. They're very different. The GLPs are taken once a week, typically, at different dosages. GLP side effects can include constipation. They can include nausea. It can include muscle wasting because you're decreasing your caloric intake, which means obviously maybe decreasing protein as well. And that's where you get the Ozempic face and people that are just kind of wasting away. There's a lot of celebrities in the news that have taken it way too far and just look like a ghost of a being. So that's the GLP bucket. When we look at the other peptides, there's very Swiss cheese holes for research on those side effects. But I would say as a whole, the medical community would say there's very few side effects compared to when's the last time you watched TV, whether it's streaming or regular TV, and you see a drug commercial?
All the time.
What are some of the 3 or 4 things that they say? Side effects may include
nausea, vomiting,
stroke, heart attack, death, suicidal ideations, blah, 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 all these things.
Right.
And, it's somebody like walking through like a cornfield or like doing salsa on a dance floor. And, they have these images and these videos of people to kind of dissuade you. But those are heavy.
Right.
And people are taking these things for their heart conditions, and they're taking these things for respiratory conditions and circulation conditions. When we think about peptides, and it's funny that you asked that because I was watching one the other day with my hubby, and I was like, I wonder what the disclaimer would be for peptides.
Please,
May cause increased energy, decreased brain fog, improved circulation, improved metabolic function.
Okay.
Right?
No, I'm glad that you touched on it because this is how I felt deep diving for this episode. I was like, and this may be, I don't know, off the wall, but I found the most helpful information on Reddit. And Reddit, it's, it's the truth. Yep, it's message board. Yeah, it's real people on there telling you their life experiences and how it's really, truly affected them, not what a doctor is telling you or not what you're seeing on the commercial. And I saw this one example, Jessica, and I was like, wait a minute. I can't be the only person that read this. So just for this example, this is what I read. It was a woman who went in to her dentist to get a tooth removed.
Okay.
She had the tooth removed. Underneath the tooth was a tumor. Okay. Now, she was told to go to see a doctor, obviously, to get it tested and scanned. The tumor was cancerous.
Okay.
That doctor now set her up to go take radiation and basically transform her whole life in a split second from a dentist visit, right? Not only is it like life-changing, scary to tell all your family, but now let's think of like the medical costs that she's about to incur because radiation isn't cheap. And let's be honest, once you hear the C word, you think death, right? Or it's forever. Okay.
I know where you're going with this.
She had a best friend who told her about a specific peptide. She took the peptide. She said the peptide broke down the tumor and it got rid of all of the cancer cells. She didn't do one round of chemo or radiation, and it cost her $400.
I believe it.
Now, okay. I was shocked.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute. But then the little thing went off in my head and I was like, oh, Big Pharma doesn't want that to happen because there's no money in that woman getting rid of the actual disease for $400 when they can have her bait and hooked for the next 20 years coming in for chemo and radiation and losing her hair.
We got to be careful. It could get canceled here.
That in my mind, I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen, heard, or found on my own. Like, and I'm saying this because if she can say it and she's just an example, I know that the FDA has many more cases and they have to have more examples of good, positive things. Right. Why is there such a stoppage, or why is this not being shoved down our face? Like that commercial that you were just saying is, you don't have to see that commercial ever again. Let's see that. Why is that, Jessica? Because that woman saved her life for $400.
Right. That's very compelling. So let's put a disclaimer on this.
Please.
I'm not a physician. I'm a physical therapist.
And we're going
to talk speculation.
Yeah.
So yes, that opens a huge can of worms. And there's a lot of talking heads. There's a lot of conspiracy theories. And we all know that there are lobbyist groups that have a vested interest in pharmaceutical sales, not to name any names. And let's not debunk that. I believe in emergency medicine. Emergency medicine, something's wrong, you almost die, you chop your finger off, you get in a lawnmower accident, or you have a heart attack, you need to go to the ER. Right. But then there's this whole space of the medical system and pharmaceuticals, and certainly there's a vested interest in those patents and selling those pharmaceuticals for different conditions. That being said, the easy assumption based on your Reddit review is that there are potential other not hippie woo-woo treatments, but things like peptides. And I have to say, when I went to that convention, the Peptide World Congress, it was double, triple, quadruple board certified physician after physician after physician citing examples from their own clients and their own healing in comparison to patients that they had treated. And these are not physicians that are new. These are physicians that have been treating patients for decades. And what peptide addition has done for their prognosis. Another caveat, the situation that you were citing with Reddit with the tumor, we don't know the whole story there. And I don't want to say that peptides are some kind of magic pill or silver bullet. What I believe as a practitioner in the medical community, that they should be allowed to use these peptides with their entire treatment protocol. So if an orthopedist has success with some type of light therapy and physical therapy and potentially some kind of surgical intervention and a peptide, if that scenario is going to increase the prognosis success of a certain treatment, why can't they have access to that? Right? So to get sensational, there are definitely thought processes behind pharmaceutical companies don't want peptides to be legal because it's going to chop off their margins and their profits.
100%.
They could be shaking in their boots, and they should be.
Is that what RFK Jr. is like going to bat for? Is to get everything open and like on the playing field, or is there like levels to it where he's not trying to, piss off the powers that may be, because they're really big lobbyists? But is it like, is he towing the line? Because I see him out there on the front line pushing it, right? And trying to obviously go at the FDA, and because it's the Food and Drug Administration. He's trying to fix what is in our food, right? I saw a statistic. It said today's 20-year-old men have the same levels of testosterone as 70-year-old men in the 70s. I was
Same thing for women and estrogen. And their menstrual cycle starting way early because of antibiotics in meat products, because of, food, contaminants, or lack of nutritional value, 100%.
So let's just say in our lifetime, let's say that, do we think that everything will be on the playing field to fully diagnose and help the people? Like, this feels so weird to ask, but like, do you think the American people actually have everything that they need to help their own American people? Like, and this is just a question, your own opinion. Do you think we'll get there?
I think after the pandemic, people started looking for solutions outside of the cubicle.
I like it.
And I think that whole situation, whatever side you're on, whatever political party you're associated with, it's in our face. And if you look at any podcast, you can't watch any TV show, you can't watch any podcast, Diary of a CEO. Andrew Huberman did a 2.5, almost 3 hour, maybe it was more than 3 hour podcast on peptides. Diary of a CEO did a huge one. Gary Brecka, all of these people, and millions of people are watching and tuning in to get educated about peptides. So to answer your question regarding RFK and MAHA, I'm not obviously in MAHA, and I don't know RFK personally, but I would venture to say that the initiative is having people to be able to access these different peptides, biologics, treatments, longevity, biohacking, with less recourse, with more internal decision making, and a little bit less of that kind of medical cubicle system. If that's not too fuzzy.
No, it wasn't.
I feel like that's where it's going. And the 7 peptides that went through, 6 of them, there's 4 more on or before February of 2027 that are coming through, including GHK-Cu injection, which everybody's excited about because that's the fountain of youth. And then there's 20 more.
Man.
And after that, there's 20. It's not stopping.
Yeah.
That's my next projection. I already called it in February.
You did it once.
Stopping.
Yeah.
So what do we do with that? How are we going to make money off of that?
Yeah.
How are we going to help people?
And you know what I found really interesting was everyone kind of asked the same question of they don't know when to up their dosage. Mm-hmm. Do you have like a definitive answer for that? Okay, because it was kind of like everyone was saying.
Do you know why they don't know when to up their dose?
I don't know.
I'm assuming it's because they're buying powder peptides from blah, blah, blah sciences.com.
Okay.
Right?
Gotcha.
And they get no protocol.
Got it.
So our provider networks that we use with our telehealth platform, WellieMD, my platform that is fully operational, our provider network has protocols. And they have on-off cycles. And we have 503A pharmacies that are ready to fulfill those peptides when they do get the green light. So the protocol comes from the provider.
Love it.
And if you don't have a provider, then you're winging it.
Yeah. You're kind of just like, I was reading it and I was just like, wait, so this guy is doing 12 and this guy's doing 2. And then there was people who was like, I don't know how to do the mathematical equation.
You shouldn't be.
I didn't know it. I was just reading it and I was like, wow, this is the wild, wild west out here.
Here's a little sizzle.
Please.
Because I just said you shouldn't be. And people are going to be like, why not? Okay, so you can't really OD on peptides, right? But you could cause some side effects.
Okay.
So common side effects of GHK-Cu, it has copper in it. Cu is the abbreviation for copper. When you inject that, you can get a little bit of a sting at the injection site. Other peptides, if you take too much, you could have side effects like feeling really tired or not having a lot of energy or perhaps nausea. So, you're not going to OD on peptides. Well, somebody's probably going to check me on that in the comments. Go ahead.
I was going to say, has anyone ever died?
Well, I mean, if you have a brain, I'm saying if you don't know if you should take 10 units or 20 units, not going to be But if you're a knobhead and you inject 100 units when you're supposed to be somewhere between 10 and 20, then then you should be suffering from whatever because you're a knobhead. Like, take those people out of the equation. So protocols come with provider oversight. Take this many units for this many weeks, and there's typically an off cycle.
Okay.
Take this peptide for 8 to 12 weeks and then 2 to 4 weeks off and then come back.
Got it. Okay, that's interesting also, because I saw there was some people who were like, I'm afraid to go down this because I've heard, right? And this is just, right. This is, I've heard, once you start Retta, you're on it for the rest of your life because now your cravings or your sensations are higher than even when you began and you're trying to lose your weight.
Let's talk about lifestyle modification.
Okay.
And let's talk about holistic health.
Got it.
If you are the type of individual to take semaglutide, tirzepatide, or retatrutide simply as a weight loss solution, there is certainly the probability that if you haven't made accompanying lifestyle changes, that yes, if you stop taking it, your cravings or the eating habits that you have could return. We're not talking about people that have thyroid issues. We're not talking about people that have other metabolic contribution to weight gain or inability to lose weight easily. So we're just talking about the couch potato, right? Or not even that. I'm not going to be condescending. The mom who is 42 years old. She has a 4-year-old. She has a 2-year-old. She's got that 25 to 30 pounds that she just can't get off. If she takes tirzepatide or retatrutide and does nothing different, and she's eating Cocoa Puffs and French fries, then if you stop taking it, mama, you're probably going to gain weight again.
Gain impact. But
if you are of the mindset, I want to take a walk. I'm going to push the kids. I'm going to push the 2-year-old in the stroller. We're going to walk around the neighborhood. Maybe I'm going to eat a little bit more protein. I'm going to decrease the Cocoa Puffs and the French fries. If you've got a little bit of that in you, then your chances of that not happening as you titrate down or taper down, you're going to be successful, right?
Because what I felt like what we were just, or I was experiencing listening to you was like a consultation or a consult. Mm-hmm. Does that also come, or is that also a service or something that you guys offer with your company? Because
yes, the providers, yes.
Okay, because
every single provider. I'm sorry, I'm over talking.
No, please, because I saw it and I was just like, wait a minute. There's people that are just left out here alone, and then they were creating like little Facebook groups to help each other.
Yes.
So
I'm going to talk to you exactly about that with our platform, with Welly MD and our provider network.
Please.
That we use. And I'm going to give you a specific example for myself and why I did this. I built my platform, for those of you that don't know. Mm-hmm. I started as a kind of a med spa, IV hydration, post-op recovery care marketing. Okay. And that parlayed into helping people with online white label telehealth. I resold third-party platforms, tech platforms, for about a year and a half, and those platforms did not care about my founders as much as I did. Plus, they were slapping on a 40% margin everywhere they could on medication and everything else, so the founders couldn't make a profit. So my personal experience after I had my daughter, when she was, I told you this before, when she was born, about 4 to 6 weeks after she was born, these medications weren't available when I had my son. He's 7 now. Like, I am taking semaglutide or tirzepatide, and I did, and it helped me lose the baby weight faster. And it wasn't just about aesthetics. I specifically remember crawling around on the floor with my son, and my joints hurting. I couldn't sit Indian style, crisscross applesauce, on the floor. And even if I did, like, I would just kind of get up, my hips and my knees hurt. With my daughter, I didn't have any of that. So there was a lot of metabolic and physiological gains from, I started with semaglutide and then I moved to tirzepatide. I had side effects with semaglutide. I had the gastric issues. Tirzepatide was great for me, and I don't take it anymore. I microdosed for a few months, and it's been, 8 or 12 months since I've taken it.
When you say gastric issues, do you mean like
Constipation and diarrhea.
okay. So that's like increased fiber into your diet to
Right.
Okay, got it.
Right.
Okay.
So you have to take more fiber and you definitely have to hydrate. And it wasn't something that I could really balance. I think a lot of people, honestly, semaglutide is kind of falling off the preferred pick list. It's very inexpensive. It's pretty much a commodity now.
Yeah.
You can get it for super cheap. But I would say for most people, tirzepatide seems to have less side effects as far as the gastric system, and it has really effective appetite suppression. So Welly MD, tech platform, providers. When I, probably 8 weeks into taking semaglutide, nobody told me not to eat spicy, greasy food. Did I tell you this last time?
You did
Nobody
not.
told me not to eat spicy, greasy food. One of my nurse practitioners that I was marketing for literally drew up 4 syringes, sent it to me in a cold pack bubble wrap, and was like, here you go. And she did call to, see how I was doing, make sure I was able to do the injection, but I didn't really have a consultation. Okay. I ate Indian food with my dad, probably 6:30. It was the same Indian place that we always ate food from, and it was a little spicier than normal. Long story short, I wake up the next day, I have quite a bit of pain kind of going through my stomach, and I had to call an IV hydration nurse to come to my house to give me Peptide for indigestion and Toradol for pain. That was a kind of really elaborate example, but the point to me personally there was nobody told me what the hell to do and not to do. Right. And I never wanted another patient to experience that, because if I wasn't so invested in this from a business aspect, what would have happened?
Exactly.
I'm not taking this anymore. And that would have been a lost patient. So in our platform, our providers, when they're communicating with patients, they give the dosage, the units, how to administer it. We give a video on how to do your own subcutaneous or below the skin injection. Indications, this is what you need to do, in addition to lifestyle changes. We recommend that you do diet modifications and exercise. And on top of that, I have a resource section in our platform where I have guide to semaglutide, guide to tirzepatide, wall Pilates, low impact exercise for this phase of your journey, GLP friendly snacks, shopping lists, like all of these great guides that you can put in your platform so that the patient has access to that, so they have support and they have guidance and they have the tools that they need to actually succeed. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
That right there was so much better and so much more in depth than what I found, because again, I was just thinking, wow, I think this is really cool how, everyday people are coming to help each other out and administer this and tell them, hey, this is what I experienced, so don't try this, or, and it was just experience after experience. And it was just like,
why are they doing that?
And because
nobody gave it to them.
And okay, so I kind of asked that question, and it was like I feel like everything in this field is like a gray area. It was like a gray area of, I didn't know, and there's two differences between ignorance and ignorant. And I felt like this kind of leaned on the side of ignorance, as you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
But if you do know and you choose just not to do something, you're being ignorant. So I felt like in this situation, I was like, okay, this is just ignorance. And I didn't know, so I felt like they didn't know. But when I looked into it more, I felt like they weren't helping. There wasn't help out there because the people administering it to them also didn't have the answers. So I was like, that's a little bit of ignorant. Like, that person is ignorant because they should know, but they're just not going to help and just let you be out here willy-nilly. Mm-hmm. That's what I found joining like 9 or 10 different Facebook groups. Nobody had any answer, and it was just the wild, wild west.
My whole assessment of that, from my perspective, is the pill mill and the skinny farm. These are splash pages that are just pumping out pills and vials, and they're not brands. And it's the brand's responsibility to provide that education through what? social media,
Yeah.
and blogging on their site, giving people that education. Now, obviously, people may not look at it, but I would say certainly the ignorance and ignorant.
Yeah.
There are brands out there that have a lot of information, education, great social media, edutainment, whatever, blogs talking about different topics. So I guess, my first knee-jerk reaction is if that group is truly not getting the information that they need, did that brand provide it?
Right.
And shame on them for not providing it. And look at that huge white space of opportunity for other brands. And this is what I harp on so much, and we talked about last time, is are you a brand, not just a flash in the pan? Are you just trying to get rich quick? Or do you have a long-term plan for your GLP business, weight loss, hormones, wellness, peptides, hair, skin, nails, all of those things? Because that's what's going to be your success. The GLP playbook, the 2021 playbook for GLPs is dust. If you're not providing some of these other modalities, you might as well just shut your doors.
Wow.
Honestly.
And I'm glad that you brought up hormones, because this was also a really big conversation in that world. And I felt like it was more, I don't know, maybe this is just my thinking. Men don't really talk too much about what they're going through or what they're experiencing. So if there are a lot of men on peptides, I'm sure there are, they're not talking about it. So, and then maybe they don't want to be looked at less than another man because you're on it and I'm not.
Don't talk about anything.
We don't talk about it. We don't go through anything. We have no problems. We're perfect people, right? But there's a much bigger conversation and dialogue around women on peptides and the hormonal side of it. And what I thought was really interesting was I saw a lot of conversations around girls or young women with PCOS, premenopause, postmenopause. And I even saw some women speaking in regards to having, I don't know how to, all of their reproductive organs removed.
Uterus,
right? Uterus.
Hysterectomy.
Yeah, hysterectomy. And saying, I wish I would have known about peptides when I was going through this or experiencing this, instead of just being given a script. And now this is what you're supposed to go take. Is peptides, do you think that peptides is like a great replacement for women experiencing those instead of being hooked on drugs for the rest of their life because that's what their doctor prescribed to them? Like there's different stacks for you or for those women's of those examples of PCOS, postmenopause, premenopause. Would you say that there's peptides out there on the market for them?
That question is
Okay.
bifurcated. There's 2 points to that. On the PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome. So this is when you have several cysts in your uterus or your ovaries, and that contributes to potentially infertility, lapses in menstrual cycles. If you go to my brand website, Kin Meds, K-I-N Meds, we shot a video series with our influencers, and several of them had PCOS. So when we look at the GLP use case specifically, GLPs have been shown scientifically in many peer-reviewed double-blind studies to have a positive effect on PCOS. And many women will say that their PCOS was essentially reversed and that their menstrual cycles became regular and that they were able to have children without doing IVF or without other fertility treatments. So that's kind of the PCOS issue.
Okay. That's amazing within itself.
And things like cystic acne. And I mean, for anybody that's on Reddit, look up on Reddit, like the most interesting things that GLP treatments have helped.
Okay.
You'll see, like, if you want to go down a wormhole, it's a Friday night and you're having a seltzer or a glass of wine or a beer, a cup of tea, whatever you're having, and it's 11 o'clock and you want to hit that button and have some fun. Like, look up some of the amazing things that GLPs, the effects that people have had positively. I mean, crazy stuff that you'd never, everything from skin, obviously weight loss, PCOS, fertility, but also people saying that their sex drive is better, cystic acne is better, that their hair is stronger and growing back, and fingernails and everything in between, all kinds of crazy stuff. And there's not enough studies out there to prove that. So that's PCOS. Okay. So when you asked about peptides and hormones, you know, Somorelin, NAD, glutathione are in the peptide realm, and those things potentially have contributed also to PCOS and other things and hormones. But when we look at hormones specifically for women, I'm so glad that you asked about this, because this is truly one of the pillars that I'm standing on with growth of these longevity medicine telehealth clinics, not leaving GLPs behind. So when I mentioned a moment ago, the 2021 playbook for GLPs is dust, what I meant is, if you're a founder and you're coming to me and you're saying, I want to start an online telehealth brand, because that's what I do. I have basically Teladoc in a box, soup to dessert, A to Z, no stone unturned. I'm going to help you launch a telehealth brand from your logo to your website. We set you up with my platform. We do the integration with the providers, the pharmacies. We do legit script, which is the compliance layer. We get you high-risk merchant processing, and I hand you the keys at the end of 10 to 12 weeks to your own compliant telehealth business, and you can take orders. So when we look at hormones for women, and you're right, the TRT, or testosterone replacement therapy model, has been iterated so many times over the last couple of decades successfully. But when we look at female hormones replacement, it's a complete white space.
What do you mean?
Are you ready?
I am so excited.
Okay.
I'm very ready.
In 2002, a study came out that linked synthetic estrogen to breast cancer. Okay? So providers basically were hands off on doing any kind of hormone replacement for women. Women have two hormones. Well, we have three. We have estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. Okay. Men have one.
Testosterone.
It's easy, right? That's why testosterone is taken off. It's very easy,
right.
Testosterone. Women have three. And that study basically put everybody on alarm. And if you ask anyone in their 50s, 60s, or 70s now about hormone replacement, they're going to say, oh, you're going to get breast cancer, right?
Got it.
Last year, in 2025, the FDA lifted the black box warning on hormone replacement for women. It kind of makes me emotional because I'm a woman, number one. But when you think about it, almost a quarter of a century of women have had that treatment option completely ripped away from them because of one study. And not only has that study been overturned, but the research has shown that if you are on hormone replacement therapy as a woman, it reduces your risk of breast cancer. Wow. And if you do have breast cancer, it reduces your risk of mortality by 30 to 40%.
Wow.
So when you think about that, it's an entirely open vertical.
Yeah.
November of last year, 8 or 9 months ago. So it's always been there, and there's a ton of education that needs to occur. So I'm going to drop a huge bomb on you right now.
Let's do it.
Are you familiar with the Liver King?
Absolutely.
On Instagram?
Netflix.
All of you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He's this, primate of a guy,
right.
and he's, just a beast of a man. And what's his whole platform?
He eats parts of the animal that no one else does.
Which
testicles, liver,
Yes.
Yeah.
Beef liver.
Yeah, beef. Right.
Liver King.
Yeah.
His wife, and this is I'm giving her props. His wife has a company called Primal Queen.
Okay.
And her whole company is freeze-dried beef organ supplements. And do you know what they target?
Women.
Perimenopause symptoms.
Wow.
This is I don't want to quote because this is an evergreen piece of content. This is a several $100 million a year brand. She also appeals towards weight loss and GLP supplementation. But let's do some math here.
Okay.
If a beautiful brand like Primal Queen is doing, let's just say, $200 million a year in sales, selling freeze-dried beef organs to women that are looking to increase their libido, decrease hair thinning, decrease thin skin, decrease buffalo hump, decrease night sweats, decrease brain fog,
Wow.
and decrease weight gain and bloating, what do you think is available in the actual hormone space? I think they can work together. I'm not saying you have to take hormones.
Right.
But Primal Queen is doing an amazing job filling a gap that didn't exist until now. Mm-hmm. So if you think that the women's perimenopause symptom treatment is not a profitable industry, you need to go just lay under a rock and stay there. It is the biggest white space, for example. GLP search per click, cost per click on Google is $25 to $60. I said click, not conversion.
Yeah.
Do you know how much it costs per click for in 2026, August of 2026, for night sweats or brain fog?
2,000.
$1.50.
No way.
Mm-hmm. Estradiol cream, 50 cents. So I'm giving you the bag.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
That's
but I am.
insane.
Who's the avatar for the GLP medication? Who is the client avatar for these brands?
Overweight people?
What kind of people? Men or women?
Women.
Age what?
40s, 50s.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Who is in perimenopause?
Yeah. 40 and 50-year-old women.
So same woman,
Yeah.
same avatar.
Absolutely.
Are you going to pitch them on GLPs alone and spend $60 a click?
No.
Or are you going to offer hormones at $1.50, max $3 a click? Get that woman on your page, give her symptom relief for 12 other symptoms,
Yep.
holistically helping her, and also offer her hormones. GLPs are the door, hormones are the house.
Wow. Holy cow. No. I mean,
And this is my marketing intelligence that I've put together. I can't believe I'm just dropping this, but I want to.
yeah.
Because I want brands that are out there that are shopping around for other consultants that are given the 2021 playbook. I just had a sales call with someone, and I think he's an eye doctor, and he was like, I was just about to go with this other guy, and he was selling me on GLPs, and I said no. Do not sign up with someone on the 2021 GLP playbook.
Yeah.
You need to have hormones. You need to consider peptides. And I gave him this pro forma, and he was like, "Oh my God, I never thought about that."
Are you different in this space because it's so close to home, because you've used it, you've experienced, and you've had such great results from it? Or is it just in your nature because that's your background and this was like similar to your profession? Like, where is that drive, that's that separator between what that person experienced on the sales call and you? Because I can feel it right here. If everyone else can't, I get the opportunity to feel it. What does that come from?
That's a great question, and the answer is my special sauce.
Okay. I like it.
Being a physical therapist, I'm out there in these educational communities doing research, consuming content when it comes to just what's viral, how to create content both for my personal brand and for our brands. What's clinically relevant? You know, I have an AI feed that spits out peptide, hormone, FDA compliance every day. I get top of the news feed. What the F is going on out there? And I'm looking at teardown accounts for e-commerce and other accounts. Are you familiar with what a teardown account is? Like, you know, this is this brand and this is why it's working. I'm not just going to bring you into my world as a telehealth brand with what telehealth is doing.
Yeah.
Because it's often the frame of mind on not what telehealth is doing, but what is working in the whole e-com community. What's working with AG1? with Athletic Greens, right? What's working with Kylie Cosmetics? What's working with Medicube? What's working with any of these brands, and why? And then I take that information and I shove it through my processes. How do we take this marketing angle and make it relevant for hormones? How do we make it relevant for peptides? How do we make it relevant for GLPs? Because I want a sizzle. I want something different that people have never seen before.
Absolutely.
Does that answer your question?
Oh, yeah. No, it absolutely did. I have a question, and I don't know if I'm pretty sure you can answer it.
Okay.
I thought it was incredibly interesting that to even go on most of these websites, you had to click that box, kind of like cigarettes, right? You had to be 18 or 21 to get on to the website. Peptides, yeah. But what I thought was incredibly interesting, and this just could be the way that my brain works, was most kids nowadays, or if you're a parent, I'm a parent. Yep. I've experienced my friends who are like, my child has ADHD. Mm-hmm. He cannot sit still, or they're experiencing depression. So they go to a professional and the child gets administered, let's just say Adderall. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now that child is on Adderall for the next 55 years. Nobody questions it. Mm-hmm. But how come you couldn't, being a parent, and you're supposed to be like and I'm not trying to piss off parents out there. I am a parent.
Right.
You're supposed to be your child's protector. You're supposed to speak up for your child. And if there's an opportunity to find out that there's a peptide out there that can be the substitute for Adderall or for anything else of they're experiencing depression, why are they not going that route? Or why are they not given the opportunity to go that route? Because you can't even get onto these websites unless you're 18 or 21. But I can walk my daughter into the hospital and she can get a prescription for Adderall. Mm-hmm. And it just blew my mind of, maybe they don't want to jab their child, but just to send them to school, they have to have shot records. So they've been getting shots their entire life. And I'm trying to think through this as I'm saying it out loud. Yeah. There's something out there that's missing of being a good parent, but having the option to be a great parent instead of administering your child pills for the rest of their life when there's peptides out there that I found can do similar things. And it's just not even spoken about.
Right.
Do you feel the same way? Do you think I'm kind of crashing out, going through a rabbit hole? And I'm not trying to judge all parents because we just don't know. Again, that's not ignorance and ignorant, but ask questions is kind of where I'm at. And I would way rather administer a peptide to my daughter than have her take Adderall for the rest of her life. And I don't know. So many celebrities die from all of these pills because they're laced with fentanyl. Mm-hmm. I don't have that issue when I know who my provider is for the peptide and I'm giving it to my daughter. Right. I feel like I'm Superman and the greatest father ever. And just, I don't know. I'm off my high horse now.
No, this is good.
Yeah.
And this is what I love about you,
Thanks.
DeAndre. You do your research and you think, and I did not see that question coming. Couple things. Let's break this down. Please. Let's chunk down some of that. Number one, the site that you're talking about with I'm 18 or 21, it's gated. Mm-hmm. And those gated sites are typically the powder peptide sites. Okay. Those are not provider-driven sites. Number two, the peptide community in children, I have zero experience with. But what a beautiful thing to think about moving into this next generation of longevity and holistic medicine with these kind of non-drug approaches. And then when it comes to ADHD, my son is 7 years old and had all the symptoms of ADHD. So in his case, I took him to an airway dentist because he slept with his mouth open and he helicoptered when he slept, meaning that he would just get up and constantly move around. And he was over 60% obstructed because of his adenoids, which is like lymph tissue in the back of your throat. And we had his tonsils and adenoids removed in his case. So, and that was medical profession. But I love where you're coming from with that, with thinking ahead towards medicine and treatment for your children. Wow.
Yeah.
What a concept. I would love for people to comment about that and what, gosh, I never thought of. See,
we did this
last time it was athletes and this time it's kids. But you know, what a great topic, because I know in Andrew Huberman's podcast, he talked a lot about animals and peptides being really blowing up in the veterinary community. But, you know, pets can't talk. So, you know, that's like a whole very unique scenario. But wow.
I would way rather it hit home for parents and just give it a thought of this different route. Like you're saying, like this holistic way of helping your child, because I don't even know the percentage, but if we were to look at the children nowadays, you know, it seems like every single kid is battling ADHD.
Do you have a specific peptide in mind? Was there something that you found, or is this just kind of...
No, it just came to me. And when I was again on these boards, I was just like, how come no one's talking about helping kids? And then when I went on the website, I was like, oh, they don't even acknowledge children because you have to be 18 or 21 to get onto the website. The powder part, right. And this is just from my lens.
Why I believe getting these peptides in the hands of providers is so critical. Because wouldn't you like a pediatrician?
Yes. That's what I meant. Like,
if it's even relevant. And we're both saying full disclosure here. We're not saying that peptides should be administered on children. We're just having a conversation like, 100%. Wow, like, is that possible?
Is it possible?
Yeah.
Because I know I've had the same pediatrician for my daughter since she was born. You know, that's just who we followed. She even left and went to a different hospital. It's clear across town. We're like, we're going with you. You know us, right? So if she was to say, hey, your daughter is experiencing this will help her, and it's Adderall, I would trust her.
Yeah.
But if there was another alternative, I would be like, thank you so much for loving her the way I love her and giving me that option.
Right.
And I was just like, like you spoke on it earlier about women in like the HGH or the hormone white area. I think this is a bigger one personally because it just hit home for me.
I will definitely do some research on that for episode 3.
Yeah, let's do it.
As these peptides reclassify. And speaking of that, you know, everyone's asking, like, what's the timeline for that? So my Legit Script rep emailed and said, you know, we're expecting within 60 days of this meeting. Of course, some talking heads are like, it could be 9 months to a year. And I think the word on the street is, when peptides do go through the PCAC review, peptide committee, that 99% of the time the FDA pushes them through. And, you know, that committee is basically going against whatever was there before from the FDA initiative. So hopefully by the end of this year, at the latest, all of these will be pushed through. And then I'm so excited to see our pediatricians, gerontologists. I mean, gosh, let's look at geriatric medicine.
Everything, yeah.
You know?
And I was going to ask you that as well. My grandfather is experiencing dementia. So as I was on this rabbit hole again, I was just like, oh, is there a stack that I can find where there's examples to like
and my dad
get him back?
Like a very unique chronic liver disease.
Okay.
And he has ascites, which is like fluid buildup because his liver isn't kind of removing those toxins. And we've found a couple of things and we've been talking and he's like, I really want to try peptides. But we're like, where do we go?
Right.
Yeah.
So is there an answer for that yet, or you don't have an answer? Or
my answer would be, again, we're in the light gray zone. There are providers that I do believe are very capable of making clinical recommendations. These peptides technically have not been approved. I am not a physician. I would never tell someone you should, you know, try KPV or MOTS-c. But I can tell you based on clinical research that's available, what they're intended to do. and how excited we are about if they are moved into the approved list for providers to prescribe, what the Pandora's box of things that could be treated. So when it comes to those peptides, nobody really knows when it's going to be approved, but certainly, like dementia and like chronic illness, I mean, gosh, the sky's the limit.
When I have been bringing up websites or different conversations that I found, you keep specifically saying those are powdered compounds. Mm-hmm. Is there a difference with your company in these powdered compounds? Like, are you giving them like completed already? Like in the vial and the syringe with correct milligrams? Like,
great
am I catching on? Okay.
So all the peptides start as powder.
Okay, got it.
So let's just go down third grade level.
Please.
So API is active pharmaceutical ingredient. So whether it's the tirzepatide molecule or MOTS-c or KPV or GHK-Cu, whatever, TB500, BPC-157, it comes as a molecule in powder form. The peptides that you get online, whether it's Facebook Marketplace or on, bropeptides.com or pilatesprincesspeptides.com. I'm not going to, call out the bodybuilding community, wherever you get them, they are dehydrated and you have to reactivate them with bacteriostatic water. And so first barrier there is, are you adding enough water? Is the concentration correct? So there are lots of pharmacies that will compound those peptides in their pharmacy in a sterile environment with the correct reconstituting, and they give you the exact dosage that you're supposed to take.
Got it.
So it's safer, but it's still not questionably legal.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody has an answer. Is it legal or is it illegal? I mean, if you look at the case of the Utah provider who got indicted last year, I'm not sure, based on the article, if they were, I don't think they were compounded. Okay. And a lot of providers do this. Let's just call a spade a spade. Sorry, guys. They get powder peptides, they reconstitute them, and they sell them to their patients.
Got it.
So ideally, I think the correct chain of events is provider indicates what peptide needs to be implemented, and a pharmacy compounds it.
Do you have a preference of like a lotion or a spray or taking the shot every single day?
Just asked me that yesterday.
Really? That's
the
funny.
route of administration really depends on the peptide and how it's most efficacious or effective.
Okay.
So in the case of GLPs, they are most effective if they're injected. There are pills and there are sublingual liquids, so the drops that you inject under or you drop under your tongue. I think the jury has pretty much weighed in that the sublingual drops are pretty not effective. Okay. They are available and you can see them in the marketplace, but they got really popular for a quick minute, but then people started doing chargebacks because they're like, this doesn't work. And perhaps that was a gap between education. Hey, DeAndre, this is 40% effective, but if you are really needle averse and you don't want to do injection, we have this. But of course, Joe Schmo is going to say, well, I ordered these drops and it didn't work like they were supposed to. I want my money back. So most people, I think, were just like, I'm not selling that.
Got it.
Because I don't want to deal with the chargeback. Regarding pills, there are tirzepatide pills available. And of course, there's the Foundeo brand name pill. And Wegovy, semaglutide, has a pill as well. In order for the pill to be approved, it has to have technology that is proven in it to allow absorption, because these medications need to be able to be absorbed to work, right? And I think there was a lot of snake oil pills. There is a case against a prominent provider network and platform out there that will remain unnamed, that begins with an O and ends with a P. And they are basically in a RICO case, which is a racketeering case, which allows you to have 3 to 4 times more damages. based on them allegedly selling tirzepatide pills that they knowingly distributed that did not have technology for absorption. And they're currently under litigation right now. So when you ask the question about creams or sprays, it depends on the treatment, and it depends on what's the most effective way for this to work. So there are some Morlin, I'm going to say troches, the sublingual, like little kind of gooey pills.
Yeah.
NAD has a troche, everybody says it differently, and a spray. So it really depends on the peptide or the medication.
Do you think that for someone who is like needle adverse, that's the term that you used, right? Would they be able to, instead, like, let's say there's someone who's experiencing a lot of different things, right? And they want to do a lot of different things instead of pricking themselves 5 or 6 or 7 times a day. Like, you know, I grew up around like my grandparents, and I saw, you know, they pop open the Monday thing of pills and there's 12 pills in there, right? And they think nothing of it. Right. But they just mix them all.
Yes.
Right. But then you tell someone like, you have to do this compound and this compound and this compound and this compound, and it's 4. They're like, I don't want to stab myself 4 times.
Yep.
Can you mix them?
You can.
Okay.
There are stacks.
Okay.
Some things can be stacked together.
Got it.
Yes. So there could be 2 or 3 or 4 things in a stack that are typically grouped together, and they do well together. And then some things do not. But again, those are not FDA approved.
Gotcha. Do they like cancel each other out if you were to stack them all at once, or is like a side effect?
If they're stacked together, then no.
Okay, gotcha. Right.
So the take-home message is, if you get the Wolverine blend, those 3 things are together. I think it's TB500, CJC, and ipamorelin. Forgive me if I don't know, because we don't sell it. Those 3 things can be injected together. But yes, you know, that brings up a really great question for administration, routes of administration. Do you really want to prick yourself 6 times every day?
Yeah.
And a lot of people do because the benefit is there. And when you think about that, if somebody's willing to inject themselves 6 times a day because the benefit of these drugs are so immense, again, there's your market research as these things move.
Well, I mean, like I was saying, just for the example, I saw my grandparents open up the little bottle, and there's 12 different pills, big ones, little tiny ones, and they would just willingly do it. And I'd be like, oh, what is that? I don't know. I just have to take them.
Right. Yes.
You know?
I worked at a hospital for years. Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, stabbing yourself 6 times, it may sound like a lot, but at least like you're administering it, you know what it is, and it's still not 12 pills that you don't even know what you're taking or what is it supposed to help with anymore. You just say, oh, this is for my heart, this is for my head, this is for my foot.
Right. Well, ideally, those individuals would know what those pills are for.
Ideally.
Yes.
Perfect avatar.
Yes. But it's hard, especially with the geriatric community, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jessica, I want to allow you to have an opportunity. This is your camera right here. If you would like to speak to the individual who maybe he's on the fence and is scared to go down this world of experimenting with peptides,
As a consumer,
yeah. But you know how beneficial that they actually can be and are. And then also give the pitch to working with you. And if they want to get into this now, you've already said it, $100 billion industry, because now I just opened a whole new gateway of children's.
Perhaps.
Who knows? Yeah, I'm not going to say it again. I want to keep that to myself. But speak to that individual as well about coming to work with you and what you have to offer and what the difference is between you and these other companies who are just smacking labels on stuff and making money. The floor is yours.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
So as an individual looking at this whole peptide market, I didn't even know. I remember the first time I heard peptides probably 3 years ago, and it was just kind of this buzzword, and it's just becoming more and more prominent, and it's getting more and more traction. It's getting deeper and deeper into these conversations online. As a consumer, I would say 100% stay away from the powder peptide site if this is new for you. And having these peptides come into the hands of providers, these are licensed physicians, physician's assistants, nurse practitioners within their practice act, to look at you as a patient and what your specific needs are and prescribe these peptides for your benefit so that you have that protocol, you have that oversight. You're not left with, what am I supposed to do? How many units am I supposed to take? This is the educational gap that needs to close over this next 6 to 8 months. As an entrepreneur looking at this market, the GLP playbook coming into this market is dust, as I said. And if you're talking to a consultant that's telling you you're going to make $1 million your first year by selling GLPs, I would run, not walk. The difference between that playbook and what's coming now is peptides, is hormones, is longevity medicine. And what is your brand? What are you selling? Are you selling weight loss or are you selling holistic health? And our ecosystem includes not only all of those treatments, but also labs, which we didn't touch on and mention, and labs being needed for testosterone and controlled substances like testosterone, but also elective labs. What are my levels? What are my thyroid levels? What are my hormone levels? What are my, what is my heart health? And those things drive what? It drives people to want to seek therapies that are going to make them look better, feel better, perform better, and feel happier in their lives. So the biggest difference between our telehealth consultancy with GrowPro and everybody else out there, and I say that with 100% certainty, is nobody does everything. We do branding, we do your website, we do the telehealth platform because I own it. We do your merchant processing, we do legit script, and we do your marketing. So every single consultant that you're talking to out there, all of the bros and all the members of your party here, do you have your credit card ready? All of those guys are what? They're renting someone else's platform. And every hand that touches your build is money in your cookie jar that's taking away your margin. And as a founder myself, I guess that would be the cherry on top, is I have my own brand. So I'm not just selling you Kool-Aid that I'm not drinking myself. I know what it's like when a pharmacy changes their formulary and I got to pivot. I know what it's like when medications go through different changes and the FDA has something on the radar. I have to stay attuned to that because I also have a brand. I have patients. They see my doctors. They take our medicine that are fulfilled from our pharmacies and they use our labs. So I'm in it myself. And I'm here to really protect the founders that we work with and that added marketing intelligence. I'm not just selling you a thing and like, good luck. I want you to succeed because when you win, we win.
I love it.
How was that?
So good. That was the best sign off.
The truth.
Yeah, I love it. I could feel it. And again, I'm not just saying it to say it. I can feel the passion and the emotion that you have when you speak of this. And it's wonderful to be able to share the space and sit across from you for the second time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. But let them know where they can get a hold of you and reach out to you.
So my kind of info page is GrowPro, GrowPro.co, growpro.co. Our mothership website is kickstartsocial.co. And you can find me on Instagram at @TheRealZenJessica, TikTok Zen Jessica, and Snapchat yes_ZenJessica. Yeah. And hello at kickstartsocial.co is my email. If you want to shoot me an email, I'm happy to help. I don't try to monetize everything. If I can't help you, I'll steer you where you do find the resources and the help that you need. Everybody's different, and I'm here to help.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're so great.
Thank you. So are you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This one was a lot of fun. Thank you for coming back. We have to do part 3.
Part 3.
Because stuff is going to get
it's
available.
Get cooking.
Yeah,
I mean, the next time we talk, things are going to be approved. There's going to be so much more stuff on the list. Perhaps there's going to be some ramifications with pediatrics.
Yeah.
with geriatrics, with animals. I mean, who knows?
Next time you come and sit in here, you're going to be like an 8-figure entrepreneur, and that's going to be so awesome. Yeah. I can't wait for it.
Pop some Veuve Clicquot.
Have to. Have to. Okay. I hope that every single one of your guys' questions was answered today. And if not, there may have been more that came up, because this dialogue was one of the most entertaining for me. It was the most beneficial for me because I said it many times. I went down a wormhole preparing for Jessica, and I cannot wait to get her back for episode number 3. And hopefully you guys leave your comments down below and let us know what you thought was the most beneficial, or what do you guys want us to talk about on episode number 3, because I promise you we will have it. That was today's episode for the Double Down Podcast.